Hello friends. A puppy and her mother already endure difficulties when they are born on the street. To care for her and her siblings, her mother must locate a secure location. It must be cozy, dry, and safe from dangers. Mother and her young ones make every effort to withstand the elements and obstacles. When the puppies are mature enough, they can survive on their own, and mom is aware of this. She exerts every effort to assist in getting her offspring there. Sadly, the mother will frequently reject a puppy who has an evident abnormality when she is born. In the case of this dog, neither a loving family nor an animal hospital were present during her birth. She was abandoned since her tiny body lacks front legs and was born on the streets. Thank goodness, a good person immediately came across this little angel, took her in, and gave her the life she deserved. She is now developing quickly. Her best day is every day. She enjoys moving around on all fours and is working on running. This young warrior craves more playing. Check out her tail for some hearty cheer. We can assure you that everyone will find motivation in this young girl. Cold and frosts are very unsafe for our four-legged friends. Some people think that if an animal has a thick coat, there is no reason to worry that it may freeze. But this is far from the case. In fact, dogs, especially domestic ones, are very hard to tolerate frost. This story is about a man who somehow just went about his business and noticed a trembling dog on the side of the road. It was clear that the animal was very cold. He was left near the post office, tied to a pole, so he had no chance to escape. Probably, the owner of the dog decided to go to the post office, leaving the dog outside, ignoring the fact that the air temperature dropped below -18 degrees that day. Apparently, the man was delayed, and the dog was freezing. What this man did when he saw the poor animal is simply incredible. He sat down on his knees, took the dog in his arms and hugged her, trying to give the animal some of his warmth. So he waited until the owner returned for the dog. It's scary to think how this story could have ended if a person had not come to the aid of a poor dog in time. Be careful and do not leave your animal in the cold. You should also be alerted by the following symptoms: trembling, weak pulse, an animal calling for help, cold ears and limbs. Hypothermia can lead not only to colds and frostbite, but even to death. Therefore, the owner, be vigilant and do not leave your pet in the cold, and also react if you see that the animal is freezing outside. Hello friends. Anyone who has been to Omsk knows that the area around the city is swampy and there are many small and shallow swamps and ditches with water on the outskirts. Animals, inattentive pedestrians and cyclists often get there. And if it is not difficult for people to get out of there, then for animals often even small pits become an insurmountable trap. At the end of May, a young man named Maxim was walking after a shift from a pipe rolling plant. He decided to take a shortcut through the wasteland, as a thunderstorm was gathering and he could have time to get to the house before it started to rain. Suddenly he heard a soft cry. Maxim could not remain indifferent to the call for help. By the sound, he quickly found a hole in which a small puppy was sitting up to its neck in water and mud. Maxim took a photo on his phone and began to think about how to get the unlucky dog out. And the baby, from the joy that someone noticed him, apparently began to wave his tail underwater, and he began to drag him into the mud before our eyes. Then Maxim lay down on the ground, with difficulty reached out to the puppy and pulled him out of the swamp. It was already beginning to rain, so the guy, wet himself, with a dirty puppy in his hands, hurried home. The kid tried to lick the face of his savior all the way in gratitude. At home, Maxim washed the foundling, fed him, and he fell asleep sweetly on a rag thrown on the floor. The guy looked at him and realized that he would not be able to send this handsome man out on the street again or hand him over to a shelter. When the storm ended, Maxim went to the pet store, bought a collar, a remedy for fleas and worms, bowls and food. So nobody needs a baby, got a house and the best person in the world, the owner. And the most real name is Jack, a beautiful collar and toys. But most of all, he loves to sleep, poking his muzzle into the owner's sneaker. We are very happy for Jack and grateful to Maxim for his indifference and kind heart. Hello friends. Maugu had always loved dogs, but he hadn't planned to buy one that day. He was simply passing by the pet market when something stopped him in his tracks. In a small, cramped pen were two Labrador puppies. One was crying softly, his golden fur wet with tears, while the other gently licked his face, as if trying to soothe his friend. He snapped a photo of the touching moment and posted it on social media, writing, "These best friends are saying goodbye because they're about to be separated." The response was immediate. Hundreds of comments flooded in, urging Mao to buy both dogs so they wouldn't have to part. But Mao didn't have enough money to save them both. His heart ached as he looked at the two Labradors, knowing what was about to happen. Finally, he made a decision. He couldn't let the crying dog suffer any longer. He walked over to the seller and purchased the tearful Labrador. As he led the puppy away, he glanced back to see the other Labrador watching them, his eyes wide and sad, as if realizing that his best friend was leaving. Mao couldn't bear it. Instead of heading home, he stayed at the market, his new dog nestled in his arms. He waited and waited, hoping that someone kind would come and take the second Labrador home. He couldn't let them be separated forever, not after seeing how much they loved each other. Hours passed, and just as Mao began to lose hope, a young woman approached the seller. She knelt down by the pen, her eyes softening as she saw the remaining Labrador. Without hesitation, she decided to buy him. Mao rushed over, his heart pounding. "Wait. Please, I have to tell you something." The girl looked up, surprised but curious. Mao quickly told her the story, the tears, the tender licking, the bond between the two Labradors. He pleaded with her, their best friends. Please don't let them be separated forever. The girl's eyes filled with emotion as she looked down at the dog she had just bought. She smiled softly and nodded. "Of course," she said. "We can't break their bond." They exchanged numbers and agreed to meet twice a week at the park so the dogs could play together, their friendship preserved. From that day on, the two dogs continued to share their time together, running through the park, rolling in the grass, and delighting in each other's presence. Though they lived in separate homes, their bond remained unbroken.